Now, one of the largest planned offshore wind farms in the world is set to be built in Scottish waters after being awarded a contract from the UK government in its latest contracts auction round. The company SSE will construct the Berwick Bank project, which will be built off the east coast of East Lothian. That and other projects are being hailed as important steps towards delivering the country's green energy ambitions.
Every single wind turbine that we switch on offshore helps us remove gas as the price setter, which is what we're all facing in this cost of living crisis. So it's critically important. Millions of homes will be powered by Berwick Bank, the Scottish project, for example, but actually the floating offshore wind projects get us out into other parts of the North Sea that we can't use at the moment. These are really important. So there's a really important step around bringing down bills for people, delivering our energy security, but actually underpinning all of this is an industrial argument as well. This is the economic opportunity, building these wind farms in Scotland, in Britain, helping to bring jobs and apprenticeships and skills that come with it.
Well, we assess today's announcement with the climate researcher and campaigner Laura Anderson. How big a deal is the Berwick Bank wind farm that's going to be built off East Lothian?
This is going to be an incredible new infrastructure project here in Scotland. It is potentially going to be the world's biggest, largest offshore wind development. It is estimated that it will be able to create enough power, the equivalent of about 6 million homes. That's about double the amount of homes that we have here in Scotland. It's going to bring in billions of pounds worth of infrastructure and development to our economy, and it's going to provide over 4,000 jobs, a lot of which will be local to the East Lothian region and across Scotland. So it's an incredible development for what it's going to be able to produce in terms of energy. But of course, it's also great to be positioning Scotland as a leader in this renewable technology. So it really is a large project that is part of this wider package that was secured by the UK government.
Not everyone has welcomed it with open arms, though. There's a number of groups have expressed concerns, amongst them the RSPB, about the effect it will have on some bird populations.
Well, we do know that off the coast of East Lothian in the Firth of Forth, there are some incredible bird species that are there alongside lots of other marine mammals. And we want to protect those species. We want to make sure that any developments that we do are carefully considering the migration paths and what the impact will be. But we also need to remember that one of the biggest threats to nature and wildlife is climate change. It is carbon emissions pushing global warming. It is creating environments that are not sustainable for these wildlife species. So we need to try and find the balance and be pragmatic about how we protect nature and wildlife, but also make sure that we are contributing to climate action that is helping these species in the long run.
But this wind farm won't be operational to the 2030s, will it? So that's a long time to wait.
It is a long time to wait, and we wish we had these plans a decade ago so that we could be creating all of this renewable energy now. But it takes time. It takes time to find the sites, to plan them, put in the permissions, secure the funding, and of course build them and make them operational. And I would say that we want to take time. We want to look after all the wildlife and do the appropriate surveys. We want to find the right supply chains and make sure we're doing this as ethically as possible. And so it is going to take time, but this is going to contribute to the UK government's targets for being clean power by 2030, and of course lots of Scottish government targets for the renewable energy that we produce here in Scotland. So it is going to take time. Wish we had done it sooner, but it is something that's positive coming in the 2030s.
Well, why wasn't it done sooner?
I think we just didn't put the plans in motion quick enough. I think we now realise that the North Sea is a mature basin. We now realise that we need more renewable technologies, whether that's solar or onshore and offshore wind farms, and we just didn't put enough plans in practice. But also we need to recognise that our grid, the electricity grid, needs to be upgraded. And so often we have had plans that haven't been able to be connected, and so now is the time to be doing that.
So perhaps most importantly in some people's minds, what will it mean for our energy bills?
Well, we know that the price of energy is tied to the price of gas because we've been so reliant on gas for our energy needs as a country. And every time we put up a new turbine or put in some more solar, we are chipping away at that imbalance between our reliance on gas and the renewable energy. So we know that this is going to be bringing down that wholesale energy price that is so tied up in fossil fuels. And we know that we'll be able to start seeing reductions in energy bills and the cost of creating energy. But also we need to remember that even just today, we had a spike in the oil and gas price because of the unsettling conflict that's happening in the Middle East. that volatile fossil fuel market is something that we want to remove ourselves from, and that's an important thing when we think about renewables.
And we also have to take into account that there is an ever-increasing demand for energy, isn't there?
Yes, so we know that our renewables have been growing so well, and that is a really positive story. But we also know that more people are getting heat pumps, electric cars, and we're seeing things like data centres that are very energy hungry popping up. So we need to balance what we already have as a demand and what is definitely growing here in the UK to come.
OK, Laura, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening.
Thank you.